Everybody, hope you guys are all doing well. I wanted to take the time to give you guys an update on where I'm at. I'm currently doing my ICU rotation here locally. It's a 3-week block, and I'll be done after this week. I'm working nights this week, and then after that, I'll be doing wards. But I also wanted to take the time today to talk about a recent event that happened, the passing of Kobe and his loved one, Gianna, and as well as the Moser and the Artabelli family. And even though I wasn't a big basketball fan, I really resonated with the work ethic that Kobe had. And I want to just let you guys know that that really made me who I am today. Additionally, with my family's upbringing, but also the work ethic that he had, that I saw inside and outside the court, made a big difference in my commitment to medicine. Early on, when I was applying to medical school, I was always someone who's had a really pretty big work ethic, just because my dad, he worked in construction, and he didn't have any education beyond just high school. So I knew that for me and for my family, education was such a big important factor in our lives. But I also saw, Kobe, someone who, even though he was the top of his game, he was able to continue practicing, continue harness those skills that he had to make sure he would continue to be the best in the world at his sport. And so when I saw someone like him, I told myself, if someone is able to push himself so much like he was, why can't I do it? And so I remember studying for the MCAT and just taking a bunch of practice exams, knowing that that was kind of the time that I had to do to practice, hone my skill. And I remember taking up to 30 practice exams just because I knew that was what I needed to do to become a medical student, to be able to gain an admission to medical school. And even though it was difficult, those hours that I had, I was putting it in even after working part-time and not doing research. And so for those pre-meds that are now currently working, who are studying for the MCAT, I'm letting you know that people have done it before. People have worked part-time and been able to take the MCAT, and even if you don't get an acceptance now, it doesn't mean that you won't get an acceptance later. So continue working every day to reach that goal that you have in mind. And that work ethic that I had, and I continue that work ethic all the way up to medical school, taking the same work ethic that I had, the mamba mentality of continuing to push myself no matter how I felt, because knowing that one day I would be able to reach my goal, one day I'll be able to be successful. And that kind of really resonated with me, the way that Kobe, his work ethic, the way that he was as a human being, and his love for the sport. He made a recent autobiography cartoon, and I saw that a couple of days ago, and it really touched me. And it talked about his love for the sport, and when he was gonna retire, he was giving up his love for the basketball, and that kind of resonates with me as well, because right now in my training, I feel like I am in a marriage with medicine. I am in the honeymoon phase of loving it so deeply, and understanding it so deeply, learning about it every day, understanding it in a whole different level than I did as a medical student. And I think that really speaks to the love that I have for my career, and I'm glad that I went into this career, and also knowing that if I gave up when I was a pre-med, I wouldn't be fulfilled like I am today. So for those who are struggling, who have not gained an acceptance, but you know deeply within your heart that that's something you want to do, continue pursuing it, don't give up, because you need to be able to have that mentality of never giving up and knowing that you will be successful. And then it's something that I continue to do to this day. Even right now as a second-year medical resident, I strive to become the best version of myself. I continue to push myself, push the envelope of what is deemed possible for myself even yesterday. And what I mean by that is, even after working 12 hours, I come home and I make these videos, but I also study on top of that. I make sure that I provide my brain with the opportunity to grow, the opportunity to gain knowledge, so that I could be able to bring that knowledge to the bedside and make sure the patients get the best care they deserve. And also additionally, make sure I balance my life, make sure I have some balance with my wife, have balance with the the games that I play, video games, and just make sure and lifting, and make sure that my life is balanced in the way that I want to make it balanced. And ultimately, it comes down to having control over your life, and not letting other social factors, not letting stress really dictate the way that you're going to react towards the environment, and being grateful for the opportunities that you have, even if they're not the opportunities that you think you deserve or you think that you want. Just taking them and going with them, and everything that you do, every goal, every opportunity that you gain, make sure you have that mama mentality of doing everything that is required to finish that task, and doing it at 100%. Not doing anything less than 100%. Knowing that if you do anything less than 100%, that's not representing who you are. That's not representing who you stand for. And ultimately, knowing that if there's something that you're doing that you don't stand for and it's not within you to do, don't do it. Kobe did everything that he wanted to do. He set his own rules. He played by his own game. And in the end, he called the shots, and he called it when it was done, when it was time for him to move on and be a father to his family, be a dad. And he did it perfectly as well. He raised wonderful girls, and even though I didn't follow his story too well, his passing made me reflect on kind of what I saw in the media, and all that. Maybe there was something that was negative, but in general, I saw a man who was a father, who was grateful for what he had, who was privileged, who understood he was privileged, but also took it upon himself to be a role model, not only for LA, but for the whole world at large. And because of that, his passing really means a lot to everybody. It's the death of a legend. It's a death of someone who represented the embodiment of hard work, perseverance, of really the American dream. And he was someone who everybody looked up to. And it was no longer a question about race. It was he got rid of that. It wasn't an African American male fulfilling his dream. It was a human being fulfilling his dream. It was a human being telling society that no matter where you come from, who you are, you're able to fulfill your destiny. You're able to fulfill whatever the goals you have in mind, because hard work, perseverance trumps all. And I think that's the message that he left us, and that's a message that many decades from now we will continue to look back. And as sad as it was, we all wished we could see him in the courtside with his daughters, and him being aged and looking at the camera and smiling. But he left a different legacy. He left a legacy that we won't forget up to even when we all pass. And so for that, thank you, Kobe Bryant, and I thank the family that he left behind. And we all will be continuing to pray for his family, as well as for the other families that were lost in that horrific accident. So thank you for everything, guys. And I hope that you continue to watch this channel